In a previous video, I discussed how you could double your light simply by changing the reflector you're using on your flash. Well, today we're going to talk about LED lights instead of flashes, but the one that I've been touting the most for flash for the Bowens mount 7-inch type is the left photo. It as much as doubled the amount of light coming out, and the ones that I like to use are the AD600, the Neewer Q4, and the reason this one makes the light as much as double is because the way it's designed with the facets and the round curve and everything, but the reason it works so well for those lights is those are the ones that have a bulb sticking physically into the reflector. You know, I like those kind more than the newer ones that are just flush and flat and all that. I like the ones where the bulb physically sticks into the reflector. That's when you get the most out of it with something like this. Now, this works really good for flash pictures, but what if you're using video lights with LED COBs? Now, those are there's nothing sticking out. That's where the LED is flush and back away from the reflector. So there's something better than this if you're using video lights, and that is the Godox RS60. This is 20 bucks, really cheap. It's got a nice shiny silver faceted interior, and this one is really good for video lights. This is the one that almost more than doubles your light, and I'm going to show you some really great examples here with this thing here. So I'm just using examples here. Something that if you have an Inkee, you're going to learn something really interesting here that's going to really change your life. Now, this is the way they come, okay? It's kind of like a flashlight, really powerful. This one is really good. It comes with this. If you add a Fresnel to the front of the 30, now it is actually brighter than the 60. Something that a lot of people don't know is that you can expand these arms into a Bowens mount. And now when you put this on here, boy, what a difference you're going to get. All right, so here we have the 60-watt Inkee, and I'm getting a reading of 8.05. Remember that number, 8.05. So let's put a 30 on here, and it's 5.66. Not too bad, 5.66 with a 30. All right, so let's take off the stock reflector. Let's put on the Fresnel, which is usually the brightest thing you can put on a light to make it brighter. On its widest setting, it's 5.62, which is nothing remarkable. But when you go focused all the way in, you get a tiny spot of focused concentrated light, and that's 8.09. So that's better than the 60, but look how small that beam of light is. I'm only 32 inches away, but look how concentrated and small that light is. That's too small. Okay, so now let's take off the Fresnel and put on the RS60. Just click it in there, turn it on. And notice how much wider the light is. On there, let's take a light reading, 8.08. It's just as good as a Fresnel, but it's wider and it's better than the 60 watt, just from changing the reflector to an RS60. And the other cool thing is, this weighs nothing. It's really lightweight. If you're traveling, you just stuff it full of socks or a t-shirt or whatever. I mean, it's just empty space. So this doesn't take up really any space in your suitcase because you can fill it up with stuff. I know it looks big and bulky, but remember, this doesn't weigh anything. This is really lightweight. This weighs nothing, and you've got a little flashlight here. So this is remarkable. Let's use another one of my favorite lights, a Ulanzi 120bi with a basic reflector. This is just a basic Bowens 7-inch reflector, and this is 120 watts, so it's going to be pretty powerful. It's 8.04, which is less than the 30-watt Inkee with the RS60 reflector. All right, let's take off the basic reflector, put on the left photo, which works great with flashes. Now we're at 11.3. So we went from 8.04 to 11.3 just from switching out the reflector with the left photo. All right, now let's use the shiny silver RS60. Remember, that was 11.3, 16. Wow. That, I mean, what, to go from 8.04 to 16 just from changing through some different reflectors. So again, the RS60 is just amazing for video COB lights. And look how wide it is. A lot of times you get brighter light, more output of light when you just concentrate the beam into a smaller beam. But this isn't a small concentrated beam. Sure, it gives you a little hot spot in the middle. That's fine because this is where the focus of the attention is. But you're still getting light fading off softly around the edges here. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, Marcus, will this improve the amount of light coming out of the new Godox RS60 LED COB video lights? Well, like I said, each light is different, so let's find out. So here we have the RS60, which is a little bit brighter than the MS60 when in bicolor mode. And it's at 100%, and it's got the standard lens reflector that it comes with. Notice it's a very narrow beam of light, so you're going to get a pretty concentrated. It's 8.08, but the light is very, very narrow here. So let's see what happens. 8.08, remember that. So to make this work with a Bowens mount, you're going to need an S2 bracket, and you take out the bottom plates because you want this round thing. Take off the reflector. Stick that on there. So now we have a RS60 with the RFT19. Okay, so it does give you a wider thing of light with a hot spot in the middle. Let's measure it with Mr. Light Meter, and we have 8.08. So it's really no different as far as light output. You do have a wider spread. Let's see what happens if we move this in and out. This is pushing it into the reflector more. So notice the difference here. It looks like right about there is like a magic spot. Let's measure that. 11.1. 11.1. Push it in a bit more. You want a wider light. So now it's pushed in quite a ways into the reflector. 11.0. Yeah, there you go. So I guess the more you push it into the reflector, right about there, looks about good. All right. 8.07. So if you push it in too far, then it goes back down again. So you got to kind of push it in and out a little bit to get the magic spot. There we go, 11. All right, so that's 11 right there. So this is better than, you have a wider spread of light, and it's f11 instead of 8.08 with the little reflector that it comes with. So yeah, it even helps the new MS RS60. Every little bit helps, right? It's just a $20 reflector. Now, if you don't like a hot spot in the middle, which I like because I like the brightest spot possible, focusing attention around the face, and then it just kind of eases off away from the face. That's me. I like that. But if you want a nice even light in a bigger area without a hot spot, then get the left photo. If you use the left photo for video, for an LED COB light, then you're going to get a more even light. But if you want like the most power output possible with a brighter spot in the middle that focuses attention on the face, then get the RFT19. This thing is amazing. So again, it varies depending on what you're using. If you're using a flash, I suggest get the left photo and just stick with it, no matter what Bowens mount flash. Especially if the light bulb sticks in. Those are the best ones. The newer ones with the flat front, I don't like those. But anyway, this still improves the light. If you're using an LED video COB light, I highly suggest, I mean, it's only 20 bucks. This is 20 bucks. This is 25 bucks. So, I mean, you can get both of them. This one gives you a flatter light without a hot spot. This one gives you a brighter light with a hot spot in the middle, but it still gives you a nice wide beam there. So RFT19 by Godox, it's only 20 bucks. You can more than double your light for 20 bucks with just the reflector you're using. Oh, wow, pretty cool, huh? And those of you who are interested in the Inkees, the 30 is only available on AliExpress. It's like 125 bucks. The 60s are 200 bucks. They're big and kind of, I don't really like the 60s so much. I like the little 30s personally. I always use the Inkees with the Fresnel because I got the same power as a 60 using a Fresnel. The Fresnel doesn't weigh much, but you know, and you can focus. That's the other thing about a Fresnel is you can change the beam angle, which is kind of cool. You obviously can't change the beam angle if you're using a reflector, but if you want some serious power out of your little 30, get an RFT19 for 20 bucks. It weighs nothing. It's much lighter than and easier. I mean, whatever. It's just more fun to use. It's just amazing how you can stick a big bones mount lightweight thing on the front of this little 30 here. So anyway, there you go. What a difference a reflector makes. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.